Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I welcome you all to the webinar today, which is Next Steps with Generative AI. My name is Muhammad Abdullah, and I'll be your host today. Before we deep dive into the details, I'd quickly introduce myself, and then my colleagues can follow with their introductions. My quick introduction is that I'm working as a solution specialist at Veraqor. It's been almost 4 years I've been associated with this company. I empower customers when it comes to decisions on right solutions for their technology capabilities. I am mostly focused on digital transformation and the value it delivers to different organizations. I'll let my colleagues that are present on the webinar here with me, they can introduce themselves, starting off with Safdar and then followed by Fahad Hashmi.
Thank you very much, Abdullah. So guys, I'm Syed Safdar Hussain, Senior Cloud Solution Architect, and I specialize in providing end-to-end cloud-based solution in Veraqor. Thank you.
Hello and salam to everyone. This is Fahad Ali. I am Data and Analytics Lead, empowering customer when it comes to making right decision on right architecture for the technology solutions that you guys need. Basically focused on data and AI on Microsoft Azure. So I think without further ado, let's dive into the meat of the presentation and the webinar that we have. We have a very vibrant agenda going in today, and something in today's webinar that we will delve into is the essence of generative AI and its potential for enhancing business value within the organizations that you respective and esteemed audience hold. The agenda definitely encompasses detailed discussion on the methodology of generative AI, featuring an actionable model as well. And we will definitely explore the process of defining how exactly the initial stages and necessary action will come into the realm of generative AI. And we will conclude with the insights on how we as Veraqor can take you to that realm and make you have profitable outputs generated from the implications of the generative AI in your own business domain. Now, first and foremost, definitely when it comes to generative AI, there are a lot of talking going on in the market. And whenever we stand with a couple of our colleagues, a lot of discussion is happening, and there is a little bit of fuzz around what exactly generative AI could be, as it is with anything new that comes in. But overall, it has definitely come a long way since its inception in 1950. I mean, it's very, very far away. Even before the internet was actually announced in 94, people have been working on it. The generative AI is definitely a subfield of artificial intelligence that focuses on creating systems that can generate new examples, like such as images. So you could talk about text, speech, anything that is generated by the human itself, even the actions that are coming in, the robot, Gen AI that you're delving in as well. Now, the generative AI actually sits on top of other areas of AI. So anything that you've heard before, like unsupervised learning, supervised learning, or reinforcement learning, Gen AI is actually relying on the capability of those models to extract useful features from the data and use that learning in underpinning the probability distribution. So modeling is just about distribution and the stats that comes in, and then generating new examples on top of it is something that Gen AI is doing, as it says in the name itself. Looking ahead, we want to see, after we know what exactly it is, we want to know what the perspective on the Gen AI is, which suggests a forward-looking and you could say contemplative exploration of generative AI, indicating the intention to discuss or provide what it actually has to offer, which is the exciting part for us. We have been to the market, and we definitely, as I believe everybody over here reads the Gartner, reads all the white papers that are coming in, and what we've been hearing from the market is that Gen AI has hit the ground running. It's so fast that it can actually feel hard to keep up. Since ChatGPT, which was like a surprise and a unicorn coming in, everybody was super excited about it, launching back, I believe, in November 2022. It garnered widespread attention, and businesses are actively seeking to harness its value. We've seen the McKinsey research over here. It's about to contribute $4.4 trillion to the global economy on annual basis. And that's a number, that's actually a real number, $4.4 trillion. And everybody wants to have a piece of that pie. Just imagine, even if you could contribute a little bit towards it, or even if you could take a little bit of that to our own company, it's a huge number. Given that we're all contributing to the global market for Gen AI, we are anticipating $111 billion by the year 2030. that aligns with a lot of goals in countries like Qatar, Kuwait. We're talking about countries like Saudi Arabia, where they actually have a vision for 2030, and that's where it's actually building up, because everybody's trying to move to that single goal, and they're doing it really fast. And we're very proud of the advancements that are getting made in that sector. Now, we've seen, because as you can see, this amount of dollars that is generating, it cannot be achieved by a singular industry that's coming in. So the impact that we're seeing, the rippling all across the industries, some of the cases which we are more interested in to develop are spread around all like education, healthcare, technology, fintech, project management and stuff. But something that is in our pipeline, and when we keep our finger on the pulse of the market, what we have been noticing is that there are certain sectors which are getting a little bit more boom and use out of the Gen AI. Like, for example, public sector. We have seen that generating realistic simulations, because what public sector actually wants to do is not just look at what's going on, but they want to get to an ideal state. So anytime any sector wants to gets to an ideal state, they want to envision it. And Gen AI is actually the best tool to envision something. And so we have seen that the public sector is simulating the spread of disease, traffic patterns, and other complex systems for the sustainability issues. They're also personalizing the public services, like tailoring government services programs to individual needs, and that definitely comes from the data that has already been garnered and taken in by the company, by the government itself. Like something that we have seen back in the days when NEOM was actually going to the market to get everything for the data models and the Gen AI and the AI that they could implement, and the sustainability program that they had, they were actually making the use of personalizing the public services. So everybody just feels like the whole system is just for them. And healthcare, life sciences, drug discovery, personalizing the medicine itself, I mean, that is a huge leap in itself as well. Like if I'm, for example, somebody has post-roll and they're taking 20 mg Leverjet, it might not be suiting them exactly. And something that could be done for them is take their genes and, like generate the compoundness of the medicine for them, specific to their own genes. And that is something which is a huge leap into the right direction. And we are very proud of that too, if we can contribute in that sector at any time. And that's something we are having under pipeline, and we're trying to develop towards that as well. Retail is another one that's big over there, where the product catalog management is coming in, or inventory optimization is coming in, where the prompts are there for people to actually just make the catalog from speech. We're talking about images, or like marketing copies based on text prompts. Like I could just tell it exactly what I want to market on, and this would come in. You've probably seen it in DALL-E. Like you just put in whatever you want to see, and anything that's coming in over your head, like a space boy eating cheese on the surface of the moon, is just going to give it to you. And it's our time to actually make it say on that.
And by the way, lots of amazing things happening in this era. I remember I memorizing the last 90s, early 90s days of the AI. In early books, you can see the example of AI is the agent. If you remember the vacuum cleaner and that agent, right? So we started from those era, and now we are we have a very exciting stuff in an AI part, right?
Exactly.
That's amazing.
That is so true, because now if you actually take that vacuum cleaner and put it in a picture, and next to it we make a Tesla robot stand up, that we have seen the videos of folding the t-shirts and helping into the supply chain of manufacturing, that's a huge leap. So
exactly,
it's very true. And I believe that could actually be tied as to the progress that we're making to the ROI that's coming in, because every time we advance in that sector, it actually is reflected back into the return that we're getting on all the efforts and the energy that people are bringing in. As we can see that across the industries, maybe healthcare, retail, media or telecommunication, government, energy, manufacturing and mobility, or other industries, you can see that the ROI is generally on the 3x to 4x size. So we can imagine that once we put this in, it's not only reducing the time and efforts that the humans have to put in, but it's also giving the ideas to go to the next step. Right? I mean, when it's saying it's generating for us, we're even facilitated in the idea of innovation, because new ideas are getting generated while we are in our sleep, and that definitely turns into the ROI that we're expecting from the technology itself. Now, as much as we have seen how much this whole thing is important, and we have seen that this is garnering so much advantage for us, there are pros and cons to everything, right? And there are development challenges. We've seen the uptrends that excite us, but the certain challenges that face the market. I believe somebody from the market who owns the market and is facing the market will better be able to actually let us know. Abdullah, what do you think the feedback as the SSP, as the lead in the sector, are you getting from the market about the challenges itself?
Thank you, Fahad. Appreciate it. I love the part where you mentioned, how we have transformed, as of right now when we speak, so much has changed. So since I'm focusing on the front end and I interact with the customers, and I would say like a lot of people that are there right now in this webinar as an audience, they would kind of like resonate with the same issues. The problems or the pain points that I often hear are noisy and limited data that actually becomes an obstacle in their day-to-day processes. There is lack of personalization, which hinders their products and services, impacting their individual needs, and also impacting or having a great impact on their customer satisfaction. They also talk about hallucination in AI system that undermines the trust and reliability, eventually jeopardizing the integrity of their data and the whole data-driven decision-making process. One more thing they also mentioned which is actually the critical part, is the high cost that is associated with the experimentation, innovation, and technology that's impacting their data-driven processes. So these are some of the highlights that I often come across, with my customers. So I see my colleagues Safdar, I'm sure he has some outcomes or solutions to these. So I would have or ask him to comment on these.
Thank you so much for asking this question, Abdullah. By the way, you ask, multiple questions in one go. So let's discuss one by one. First issue that I think you mentioned, high cost of experimentation, right? So, for example, if you are targeting a smaller organization and individual researcher, right? So you should utilize open source tools that can make experiment, more accessible. Further, I think you can utilize cloud-based platform. As you know, the cloud-based, offering pay-as-you-go services are there, and that can help manage costs by scaling resources, scaling up and down as needed, right? And you can do the collaboration, right? Resource sharing between research institutions and companies and individuals to optimize the use of existing resources. So all these, addressed or overcome the high cost of experimentation, right? And
Yeah.
second, the most important, you mentioned that hallucination, right? So that's happened due to the incoherent content, right? And for example, generated samples that lack coherence or consistency, sometimes that making them difficult to interpret or understand. And this may include image with unrealistic features or scene that defy logic, right? So the solution that overcome this problem, but you can improve by training your data. You can utilize high quality, diverse, and I would say the well-labeled data that can significantly reduce the occurrence of hallucination, right? In
Agreed.
generated,
Yep.
yeah,
It
in
kind of
generated
adds to the credibility. Yeah, you're spot on.
Yeah, definitely. And you can ensure, model explainability as well. And you would have, the better implementation loss functions as well. Within the training process specifically, I'm referring the training process, right? So that could have a better loss functions. So that ensure the model explainability as well. Yeah. And I think third issue, Abdullah, you mentioned the innovation technology, something like that, right? So to
I
buy.
mentioned, sorry to cut you off. I mentioned about lack of personalization because that is something that I face as well. Because eventually, I'm facing customers and I want them to give a true picture as to what is being done and how one thing that I'm doing would have impact on the results.
All right. For that, you can develop a method for users to input their preferences on or desired outcomes, right? And allowing for more personalized and tailored output. And you could have conditional generative models to utilize a conditional generative model that can usually take additional information as an input, and enabling the generation of output based on a specific user need or a specific context, right? So that could solve this lack of personalization issue.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's like hitting the nail on the head. So appreciate that.
How about do you see any roles of like increasing the parameters for the model itself when the personalization comes in so that it could actually subset on the parameters that are available to them? Is that something that we're lacking in that area?
I think one more thing that I forgot to mention, that is an interactive generation system, right? To develop interactive system where user can provide feedback and refine the generated output iteratively, right? And leading to more personalized result. That leads actually the more personalized result, I would say.
Yeah. And when we come back to the point where hallucination was the point and our approach to actually curb it, I believe we were discussing it a few days ago, where we had to the tuning of the model itself.
Yeah.
We increased the time for that phase itself, so that we would actually like ensure that the output actually aligns with the intended object. Is that Abdullah? I would ask you, like, is that a pushback that you get from the customer themselves, that when we increase the timeline for a certain phase, there might be a disconnect between us and the company or the client, and they're not actually understanding that this needs to be extended out? Do you feel that? Yeah.
I would just like limit in one sentence. It's like it becomes lost in translation, honestly.
Yeah.
And that's like the biggest issue that I face, and I'm sure like the audience that is here right now in the webinar, they would probably face the same issues when they're interacting, and when it's about like having like mass interactions with your audience and customers. That's when it becomes a bigger issue.
Thank you, gentlemen, for actually shining light on the main issues that you face and how we are actually trying to cover it. Moving on, now, since we are definitely a Microsoft shop and we do want to, like align ourselves with the perspective that Microsoft brings in, let's take a look at navigate through the generative AI from Microsoft lens as well. Something very, very exciting, which we keep talking about almost like every day and keep working with, is the Azure OpenAI. And I think it's very important for us to actually understand the fantastic four that are in there in generative AI, and trying to like take every step to the next one. Where firstly we have the GPT 3.5, where it's taking care of the textual input, and then we have the chat GPT, which is actually a conversational agent. A lot of use is coming out of that. A lot of people are interested in that, and that's the reason that we have most, like, I would say 50% of the demos that we do, 50% of the solutions that we actually come up with has some part of chat GPT involved in there. Not just chat GPT is conversational, and we could be using our own engine in the back end as well. Then there's Codex, which is actually helping people help with code. If there is any coder or developer in our esteemed audience today, they would know that there is IntelliSense that almost all the coders are very much aware of, which completes the code by itself. It is a very magnanimous or a gigantic Hulk version, where it actually gives you the whole code just based on the textual prompts that you give in. And then what we're dealing with, the last one is the DALL-E, which is a notable generative model, which is extending the capability to image synthesis or demonstrating the versatility of the generative AI across various domains. And when we combine these, we come to a solution that can actually cater to all this stuff. And might as well I add that there is this speech incorporation as well, which usually is getting taken care of in the cognitive side of the Azure, where we're just talking to it, and a lot of things are just happening because it converts the speech into the text, and then it takes the text and the prompt, puts the feature engineer on that, and then it can actually generate the stuff that we're actually moving forward to establish in the domain.
Fahad,
I want to talk about is the Copilot. Actually, I'm very much interested in what Muhammad wanted to ask, because I love the interaction that comes in. This may have been the best part of the whole webinar, his question. So sorry, Muhammad, we couldn't get you through, but just write your question in the chat and we're ready to take it right away. But about Copilot, more good stuff coming in. As we've seen that the Copilot has taken the whole development stack by storm, and even the citizen developers are actually taking a lot of impact from that, and the business users as well. The AI generated response, if you make it uniquely contextual and relevant to the task at hand, and get it informed by the business data, voila, that's where we wanted to be. And I believe Copilot has actually delivered on it within the Dynamics 365 ecosystem, right? Where we have this low code application that is automating a specific manual process of creating a targeted list of customer segments from the customer relationship management system. And that is something that where we wanted to be, like NLP, that's the sweet spot. We just want to talk to the data. We just want to talk to the system itself. We're very happy to see that the Copilot is actually using both LLM, like GPT, and your organization's business data. So that's where we hit the nail and combine everything, right, to produce more accurate and relevant and personalized results. We've seen not just in Dynamics 365, what we're usually talking with the customer these days, if you're on the data or the data science side, is the fabric, right? So when it comes to Microsoft Fabric, first of all, congratulations to the whole development community that we have got something which is SaaS based and so easy to provision, so easy to get onto, and like scale it up to as much as you want, and CUs, like the compute units have been combined. So we are very happy about that. I would like to actually give a salute to Microsoft on that and take the opportunity. But along with that, the Copilot that is helping us develop the pipelines, like in the engineering. When you come to data science, it's actually helping us to prepare the data itself. When you come to the Power BI, the analytical side, we had the smart narratives already. But since the Copilot is there, we're actually creating the dashboard and the reports all by just giving the natural language in the prompt and getting it processed. What do you think, Safdar, about that? Isn't that super exciting?
Yeah, exactly. It's so exciting. Yeah, and I remember the last quarter when I was exploring the Copilot. Right, we can segregate into the three category: embedded, solution accelerators, and custom Copilot. Right, embedded is something like integrated into the Microsoft product that you mentioned very explicitly, right? And the solution accelerator that provide the basic capability out of the box, right? And the custom one where you build your own custom Copilot for your organization that does what you want, where you want. So it's amazing, right? So people are doing so many things in the custom Copilot side, right? Yes.
Yeah, as you mentioned, like doing so many things. We did do a little market research, and even like our own customer research coming in, where people usually are taking a lot of help from the Copilot in finance, customer service, sales, and human resources, customer insights, and supply chain management. Now, these are a few salient domains of the industry that the benefit is actually going a lot, right? And I just want to raise
I vouch for sales.
You do, right?
So yep.
That's where we got the
hands down.
I did recently for the HR management, right? I did recently. I created the custom Copilot for HR system.
Yeah, yes. So when we were doing that, we actually took a lot of pride in that as well, because that was hitting the nail right straight up for the HR department, And I just want to confirm something with you. If you're also incorporating the CV scans, like prompting.
Yeah.
CV
prompting, and including the employer leave policies, or different aspects we can cover for that, right? By the way, one more thing I need to mention over behind the scene, we are also implementing the RAG pattern. It works like when we need the generative response, so it's necessary to implement the RAG side, retrieval augmented.
Yeah. So that's amazing. And a single point for our esteemed audience today: if you belong to any of these industries, sales, or any of the domain that is in your head right now for the solution, we are actually acing these for now, and our development pipeline is actually filled with programs, demos, and solutions based on this. So and there are certain things that we actually use to accelerate your domain readiness, right? And we want to actually get you there super fast. So this is the bonus part where we are achieving business excellence through Copilot, and it's something we want the businesses to use. Now the generative AI plan of action at Veraqor, it comes at the right time where we have actually seen what kind of solutions are available and what we are working on, what is readily available to you at a single message to us. Let's see how we actually get you there, the how part, right? The strategy that we are developing for large learning models is considering various stages of model training. We have taken our efforts and energy to actually put the duration so that we already know, because sometimes when you're talking to the clients and you tell them this is the duration that it takes to train the model, it goes in another direction, and we just want to mention it that this is the best that the industry can do for now. We do feel like maybe later in the stages we could just be doing it right there, like rendering videos in like a couple of minutes or something like that. But for now, what we see is that the duration and the expertise level vary across the stages, with pre-training requiring the most time and most expertise because a lot of development is going in there. This is followed by fine-tuning, which is taking care of your hallucinations as well, which is taking care of the data, the output that you're actually getting out of the stage. And then there's reinforcement learning. And lastly, there's development and optimization for the whole one. And you can see that every stage, since we've already put in so much time and effort into the first one, the next stage is just getting shorter and less effort intensive. But I would say all the stages involve training large models on an extensive data set. So something that we do is, for example, if we get the data set from your organization, we actually employ the data set just for the training purposes from the open source as well, with any secrecy and privacy concerns intact and compliance intact, if that option is available. Because the more extensive the data set is, the general features of the learning and the patterns become more significant, and the computational resources definitely go along with that. And that is something that we will also be very much, interested in letting you know how the computational resource go, or the expertise in the model architecture design go, and how the training methodologies go about that as well. We will see that in the coming up slides as well. This is just an evolutionary path, so we understand if you start working on a model that you want to work on, if you want to develop something with us, these are the things that go by. We first lock up the scope. We have the use case. The business actually decides how we are locking up the scope on what's most important to yourself. We do the assessment. We try to assess your resources and set realistic expectations as well, not from the side, just on the side of the client, but on our side as well, so we can actually achieve what we want to do. And then after using that, we get the model that's more on the development side. Then there's model adoption and alignment, in which we have seen in the previous slide how the breakage is done for the fine-tuning, the prompt engineering, aligning with the human feedback as well, because that's definitely a UAT as well. We are aligning exactly how much confidence rate our model is providing. We aim definitely in the highest category. Something I would just give you a generic aim for that is anything that is above 85 all the way to, it never goes to 100%, but as close it could be. This is the range that we all aim for. And then the last, we get to the application integration, where we optimize the model and deploy it for inference, and get the augmented model and build LLM powered for the application as well. And that is where the magic starts happening and things start becoming very, very interesting. After we have done that, this definitely goes to the last business user, and they can get the hold of the insights that you're actually trying to get. I mentioned, now I believe, Safdar, this is the more interesting part for you, because we have actually put a lot of effort into developing this, and Safdar has been instrumental on it, right? So this is a gift, I would say, a present for all the esteemed customers and the audience that we have right here, because Veraqor not only possesses the expertise in generative artificial intelligence, but it also goes above and beyond. Why? Because we want to expedite our customers' progress. And we believe strongly that customer success is actually our success. So for example, what you see over here, it's the accelerator, we call it Generative AI Information Assistance Accelerator. What happens over here is, in the context of Gen AI, we're considering a Gen AI lending zone, which serves as an environment facilitating the deployment, optimization, and utilization of generative AI models at scale. So what's happening over here, you don't have to start from scratch. A lot of things have already been put in place for you. And what we need to do is, after we understand your use case, all we do is just get in with the customizations that you need on top of it. And it's saving you around 2 to 3 months of efforts typically required for setting up and configuring the generative AI environment. And this actually streamlines the deployment experience by deploying the conceptual architecture and applying predefined configurations, keeping in touch, keeping in mind, and the best practices. So you can be carefree about what goes in your model, how the security is getting handled, how the data is going to be input, what kind of how would I upload the files. We're using the Azure technology over here with the Azure Web App for the uploading and the orchestration, how the prompt engineering will be done, how we will be storing the data in the blob storage. That has all been set up for you with even the app service plans and the functions that will be needed. So all that is needed is a little bit of customization with you. So a lot of time, a lot of months are reduced into a small packet for you. And that just makes you go, because if you're attending the webinar right now, you're already, if there are 5 steps, you're standing on the 2nd step because this has been done for you with Veraqor.
And by the way, it works as a personalized co-pilot for you. And, you know, there's this AI powered assistant, I would say, that learn your preferences and adapt to your need, right? And you can think of it as your personal productivity powerhouse. You can say that.
Definitely. And it can be more personalized with the data that we
exactly.
So win-win for all.
Yep.
So guys, if I were to ask you, like, what are, how one can leverage generative AI in different industries, what could be, like, if I were to represent any one particular industry, which I do not right now, but, if I'm asking on behalf of the audience that is there right there, which is, I believe, is a mix of different departments, what do you reckon? What do you recommend?
Well, if this is something if you're talking about specific industries, right? There are industries coming up. If I may go to the next one, you will actually get the answer to the question itself. Like, for example, when you asked how you can actually take care of a specific whatever we saw, the accelerator and the use case, combine it and see what we can do in the industry of, say, for example, design and construction, right? Now, this is one of the use case that aligns with the answer of your one question. Is the architecture can actually be amplified a lot with generative AI. It is offering a gateway to unlock the previously untapped ideas in architecture first. That's first thing, which is allowing for innovation and unconventional design. Once we put this in with the database that you have and the prompts that are given by you, and we prompt engineer it on the prompts that will be provided by you, we can harness the power of generative AI for the architects or the developers or the like in our esteemed audience who are in the designing malls, designing shops, designing the entertainment facilities, everything in there. They can actually orchestrate a symphony of design by using Gen AI and the solution that we have right now. And the destiny of a room or building with its diverse and harmonious compositions. And not just that, from conceptualizing the layouts to optimizing the spatial arrangements, like where the seats are going to be, where the tables are going to be, where the screen should go. That can be done way better with all the information that has been provided to the system itself. It enables architects to create these spaces that are both functional and aesthetically captivating, which is amazing and huge. And also embracing Gen AI, we can have the doors to endless possibilities as given to us. Does that actually give you a little bit of perspective into how specific, right? And I believe for HR, because you have already done HRMS, I would like you to actually
let me say some words. So generative AI helps in various aspects of human resource management by offering a solution and addressing existing challenges. For example, so enhancing recruitment and candidate experience, right? And personalized job description. So AI can, analyze the data to generate job descriptions tailored to the specific roles, and I would say specifically the target audience, and attracting more qualified and diverse candidates, right? And one more example, which is automated screening and matching system. That's very important for HR, which generative AI can review resumes and cover letters, and it filter, candidate based on predefined criteria and matching them with suitable job openings that you have, and saving recruiters valuable time, right? One more use case you can cover, that chatbots for candidate engagement, improving talent management and development. Yes.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. Yeah, something maybe, you know, after this webinar, I might have to look at it as well. Anyways,
HR could be using this in a lot of ways, because there is so much people, you know, involvement in there, and whatever we try to do with Gen AI is what people are expecting and thinking and saying. So.
There are a lot of operations where they can leverage this, you know, generative AI to automate their task and day-to-day operations. Yes, and get more value. Yes, exactly. So in health industry, I would say generative AI leads the healthcare transformation, and leveraging this generative AI for specifically for diverse application. For example, overcoming the challenges in drug discovery, medical, you know, imaging delays, and personalized medicine. It's very important, and it's also, by the way, expedite drugs development, optimizing image interpretation, and can also facilitate personalized treatment plans through efficient data analysis. And most importantly, benefit encompasses improved drug development part, and including personalized care plans, and early disease detection is also one of the use case, and enhancement and understanding of clinical notes via NLP and predictive analytics for patient readmission, so that align with the value-based care. Yes.
But one thing that I am thinking about this is, what happens if this, I mean, what's the error? Like, what's the room for the error in there? Like, for example, when we're getting the information from the clients, what kind of parameters have we set for that in these applications? Because error in this could, you know, like give a little bit of challenge to the whole approach. What do you think about that?
You know, the more data, the more training, there's a less chances for the errors, right? So we discussed as in early slides in the detail. Yep.
Yeah, that actually
In
makes
other
sense.
session part, exactly.
That actually makes sense. So I think, yeah, in Gen AI, because we are actually trying to imitate how humans actually innovate and how humans actually, you know, develop something. Once we get to the Gen AI is actually doing it more robustly on the logical side, right?
We can say generative AI stands as a pivotal solution, right?
Yeah. So that's good. That's good. All right. The last industry, Abdullah, that would actually impact, and our esteemed audience would be very much interested in the calls that the way the calls are getting dealt with, the customer service, right? And what a hassle. What a hassle is that? Like, huge, right? And then a lot of people are just there to get the answer right away, and a lot of time it happens that the agent who's actually taking the call, trying to solve the problem, has to go back and forth. It would be wonderful, like for example, we have seen something like that in the WhatsApp chatbots, right? Like the banks industries have been using it, the resorts are using it to getting booked to stuff now, but that's very basic at this end. But I believe even the call centers, sometimes there's voice that is being generated on the other side and asks you for the options. And when you say it, I've already seen the speech to speech recognition on Gen AI, right? I mean, I believe we all have experienced that. Now we are taking this to next level, right? Generative AI revolutionizing the call centers with innovation solutions for optimized customer service operations. The challenge that we're tackling, such as I would say for myself, and I believe everybody would resonate with that, is the extended wait times, limited availability, or generic responses, or, you know, emotional handling by providing a transformative approach to customer interactions. And I basically would very much appreciate it if I don't have to wait for an agent, you know, would listen to the elevator music, and that actually increases my respect and my affection for the company, because they're getting back to me right away. And that is something we are actually providing to as a solution to our customers through the natural conversations, or even, you know, like based on individual context, a unique customer experience. You know, we could actually have the calls for the customers in the past bag up and you know, use that historical baggage of data to profile the customer. Like, do they want somebody with this tone? Do they like somebody with this tone? And we could provide exactly the experience that they want with the personalized customer engagement, even a script generation, or like automated responsive, or even multilingual support, because that is something we are working on as well. Like last time we were working, I believe we were trying to incorporate Kazakh, Russian language for Russia and Kazakhstan, and we were doing it the Arabic language for our Arab customers back in the Middle East, right? So that is something that's coming in very handy for the call centers that we are developing on.
Just sticking to this, Fahad, it reminds me of the time when we were going through the pandemic, COVID. Imagine hospitals, how many calls they used to get on a daily basis. So imagine if we had this then active, up and running, would have solved the issues like for everyone. But I mean, like, this is a pretty solid use case for for companies or for organizations that get day-to-day calls on regular intervals.
Yeah. And I believe this one, basically, since you brought up the hospitals from the COVID 2020 era, I believe this perfectly aligns with the vision that we have, which is helping the humanity through meaningful technological solutions.
Exactly.
Right. So this is what we do. This is our bread and butter, and we just want to help the humanity getting. Today is Gen AI. Tomorrow it could be anything. We just want to use the tool to help our customers out and their customers out as well. Well,
by the way, we have two questions. We'll address them shortly.
Let me take a first question around which is around personalized user experience with generative AI, right? I think the question was, how can generative AI be used to personalize user experience or create the tailored content at scale, right? Is that is that the question?
That's one. That's second. The first one is he's asking, Mr. Muhammad Rabiq is asking for examples of successful applications of generative AI in real world scenarios.
So first, I think we can take first, right? So personalizing user experience with generative AI. So we can tailor as per recommendations, and the model can analyze user data and preferences to recommend personalized content, products, and services, enhancing user engagement and satisfaction. And we can have adaptive user interfaces through generative AI can dynamically adjust user interface based on the individual user preferences and behavior, creating a more intuitive and personalized experience based on provided data where you are trained, right? On which model you are training, on which data you are training, that's depend, right? So, and if we say the content generation is a scale, so it's not wrong if we say the model can create personalized content like product descriptions, news articles, and marketing data tailored to specific user or market segments specifically, to automating the content creation at scale, right? So this is by leveraging the generative AI data and understanding user preferences, we can say the generative AI can offer a more personalized and engaging experience for users across various platforms and applications.
Yep. Mr. Rabiq has also asked if there is any successful application for generative AI in your scenario.
Recently, we showed the very good example of the HR and healthcare, and now we are discussing the call centers example, right? So now go ahead.
So, Mr. Rabiq, you said, right? So these are all the use cases that we just discussed right now. These four specifically are the ones that we already have in our bag. Like the development cycle for that has already been there, and this is something we can get started with right away if definitely you're interested. And depending on the use case or on whatever you're working on, we can have a collaborative session. It would come up. Actually, I would just mention it right now briefly as well, that we have specific briefings. We could get into the use case, you could see what you're interested in, and then show you the demo for that specific solution. And if you like that demo, and we very much hope that you do, because we like it at home a lot, it's serving a lot to other customers as well. And if you like that, then definitely we could go on the development side on that for that specific use case, leveraging the four use cases that we just showed right now.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, Fahad. We have Mr. Prabeek's contact details. We can surely get in touch with him, depending on his availability. Next question that we have is from Dr. Ahmed Ibrahim. He's asking how to build the right use case or use cases for the HR.
Oh,
the
good
HR.
question. For specifically for HR. Okay, so we can we can enhancing the recruitment and candidate experience. For example, we discussed the personalized job descriptions. Generative AI can analyze the data to generate job description tailored to specific role and target audience, attracting more qualified and diverse candidate. This is one of the use case. Second is automated screening and matching. You can leverage the resumes for the resumes and cover letters, filtering candidate based on predefined criteria, and I would say the matching them with the suitable job openings, saving recruiters valuable time. Another is chatbot for the candidate engagement, improving talent management and development, and we can develop the smart narrative board for employers to chat with your data. I would say the policy data, for example, leave policies and TADA policy, traveling policies. So that all use case that we discussed earlier. So yes.
Appreciate it, Mr. Safdar. Sorry, Fahad, if you want to add something, sure, go ahead.
Yeah. So
and
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, so just one more thing. It brings actually the holistic improvement to HRMS practice, the whole impacting strategy, recruiting, administrations, and performance management and employee engagement. So all these area we can cover, or we can leverage the generative AI for this. Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I very much like that. I'm sure anything that actually comes into the HR side, because there's so much people involvement over there, right? You talked about vetting the resumes and the CVs that are coming in from the candidate itself. We are actually vetting them. We have feature engineered them properly. We've seen the demo for that, right? And can be shown as well, where we're actually trying to fabricate what's coming in, and based on that we're just trying to rate or score the information that's coming in. So and the policy one especially, I really liked it, because I do not want to disturb my HR as to know when the Gazette holidays are going to be, or when the leave I can encash, what kind of like I actually did have a problem, the cell phone, what kind of cell phone limit do I have, and those are some questions that you should know once you have spent 5 years in the company and you feel a little embarrassed to go to the HR asking that. So I really appreciate I could just go into our core GPT solution that we have made, and like just type in like what's my limit for that, and it just gave me the answer.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, gentlemen. I hope we have answered your question, Dr. Ahmed. I think we have one more question. I know there are a few slides remaining, but I'll just quickly read out to you guys. I have a question from Mr. Siri. He's asking how generative AI plays the role in the project management.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, amazing question. You can put everything, the estimations, the hours, everything on the, into your chatbot, and it will get back to you with a Gantt chart and proper timeline, time management. Within a timeline, you can manage your own project, with the good suggestions. Complete project plan you can create through the generative AI. That saves the project management time.
And not
this is a short question.
Sorry. And we've also seen people getting aligned with milestones as well. Like if, for example, if now the description Mr. Safdar just actually gave definitely aligns with the big solution that has been given to us. But for example, if it's your company's data that you align with the Gen AI solution for project management, then the personas that you actually give, person A, person B, person C, when it breaks the milestones in there, it can see what people are actually aligned with those milestones and assign tasks to them as well, right?
Exactly.
And generate a whole project plan from end to end. And then all you got to do is just present it on a beautiful screen in front of the stakeholders and just make the customizations right there. So it reduces the hard, like the brick and mortar kind of effort in there, and the store is ready for you right there.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys. I hope we are able to answer your question necessary. We will unmute the lines if you have a question, or you can just click on raise hand or drop a comment. I think we have just only a few slides remaining. Yes, gentlemen.
Yeah, because so we come to another good part, which is a very, very responsible kind of thing where we feel some stuff has to be taken very seriously around here. We talked about, like in the medical zone where we're talking about how GPT is actually taking your DNA data, and the generative AI is actually tackling very much PII kind of data, right? Person identification data as well, and what kind of ethics are there and responsibilities are there. So remember, we got to remember that building ethical AI is an ongoing journey, and it's a very complex process. And it definitely requires us to be mindful of ethics throughout the development process and the deployment, and specifically when it comes to use. Now, these three parts I want to highlight right now is that ethics throughout development, deployment, and use, because you don't want to put anything in the development that might get leaked up in the use. And then you don't want to put up anything in the user's side, give them certain kind of, for example, I would give you an example in DALL-E, you were able to generate a lot of images, right? Now, there could be some kind of inappropriate kind of data that you could generate from those pictures, but it stops you. No hate speech, no violence, no sexual, no political stuff coming out of the DALL-E system. And they have tried to use the ethical side on the best side that they can. And that's what we got to do in our approach as well. Firstly, let's define clear ethical principles that are fairness and transparency, which Safdar definitely would go into a little bit more detail in a bit as well. And this is to diversify the stakeholders to avoid bias. And it's very crucial to ensure transparency. This is what we do in our solution as well. We explain how our models work. There's a whole documentation for that, and we are honest about our limitation. So sometimes that might feel to the end consumer as lack of feature, but we will tell them that this is a limitation that you on there for the sake of ethics and for your own safety at the end of the day. And let's not forget about public education as well. So any solution that we give to you, we have assigned training modules at the end, so that you have a proper education and engagement for that. And you can actually tell the stakeholders itself at the end where the ethical considerations come in. Now, Safdar, what is the recommendation that you give actually to put this in the practicality through a framework? Like there should be something established, right? Something like established workflow, or like a framework or some kind of rules. Would you like to shed some light on that?
So, nice question. Actually, we believe that the development and deployment of AI must be guided by the creation of ethical framework that you discussed, right? And we set out our view that there are 6 core principles by Microsoft that should guide the work around AI when you are going to implement. For example, fairness. So if we discuss about the fairness, the AI system should be fair and inclusive by avoiding discrimination based on factors like race, gender, or disability, right? Second, we can say the reliability and safety. Generative AI system should perform reliably and safely, mitigating risk and preventing unintended consequences, right? If we say that about the transparency, so people who create and use AI system should be open. Means about how they work and their limitations, right? So this is how that should be transparent. And fourth, if we discuss about the accountability, so everyone involved in the development or deployment and use of AI system is accountable for their impact on society, right? So another pillar is the privacy and security. That's more important. So the system should respect user privacy and data security, which is very important. So adhering to relevant regulations and I would say the safeguarding the confidentiality of their data. Okay. And sixth important part is inclusiveness. So the AI system should be designed in a way and it's used in, I would say, in an inclusive manner, considering the diverse needs and perspectives of the different stakeholders, right? So this principle emphasizes the ethical and ethical, explainable aspects of responsible AI development and deployment both, forming the core of Microsoft approach to this powerful technology, right? Yes, and but it's not enough to define this principle. We need to operationalize them at scale as well. And as we focused on, exactly. So we focus on the 4 key areas to help put this principle into action. First, you need to governance. Second, you need the rule to standardize AI requirement. And third, important thing is you need to training and best practices, right? And fourth, you need to tools for implementations. So this is how, right, responsible AI principles.
Yeah, and the good part is that Microsoft is actually taking care of the major part of this. This is embedded in the way we are actually leveraging the tools that have been provided by them, and the governance and the rules and the training and practices. This is all just boilerplate. It's literally a lot similar for any model or any solution that we put in. So we are very happy with at the end that it's all taken care of with the collaboration of the end stakeholder, which is the client, ourselves, and the Microsoft tools and technology provided to us. Yeah, Abdullah, you were saying something.
Yeah, I was just about to say that we just only have a few minutes, in fact, 3 minutes, and we have one question, and I think we have 2 more slides left. So we have a question from Hussain. How much can we rely on AI-generated solutions? Like it was mentioned that we can create a project plan. Do we need to validate the accuracy of generated responses? If yes, wouldn't it be an additional effort? I mean, it's pretty pertinent to what was shown before. I think you've already answered Safdar when you were talking about project management, but Fahad, if you want to add something to it.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, that there are a lot of steps that you got to do. As I said, that it would actually create a whole template for you, and it would create the solution for you. But then at the end, we're not oblivious to the solutions that are already there. Everybody's using Bard, Gemini, Perplexity, or ChatGPT over here. 100%. If you're not, please use it. Please do, because it's amazing and it simplifies a lot of stuff for you. But if you do use it, you will see that once you get the prompts, once you get the answers for anything, you have to recheck it. And sometimes it's not even 50% correct. You have to actually get in and provide your own instance. But what it saves is the first blocker, like the developer blocker that comes in the beginning. It saves time and effort, because you don't want to be doing things that are just charts that can already be made for you. You don't want to put in the milestones, because, for example, if you want to do any project, there could be some milestones that are just same to all of them, and you don't want to rewrite them. You don't want to create or reinvent the wheel. And a lot of time, these things require a lot of R&D. But why actually do the R&D ourselves from the scratch when something can be provided to you and you can base yourself on top of that? So once we're doing the project management through that, we have to put in our own efforts, our own lineup over there to actually recheck it and calibrate it according to ourselves. And it's Mr. Mohsen, I would say that it's not actually increasing our effort. Once we actually get the first template, it reduces the efforts a little bit, because we don't have to actually create what can already be given to us.
And as we mentioned in an early slide, by adopting a collaborative approach and leveraging the strength of both humans and AI, you can utilize AI-generated solutions effectively while ensuring the quality and success of your projects, right?
Yeah, I hope that you have actually answered that.
Yes.
And I would like to move to the last and final part of it, which is the most exciting part for, I believe, for us, and it should be for the esteemed audience as well. We're talking about real stuff. You want to come to us, you want to talk to us, there's free briefing for you guys. We can take a couple of hours, sit with you, discuss any kind of information that you need from related to Gen AI, or if you just want to talk about the use cases and business use cases, you want to discuss anything, we're at your disposal. Just write yes in the chat or send a message to us. You have the number as well. And if you just write yes in the chat, we will be able to get back to you. Our marketing department, or Mr. Abdullah, who's heading the sales over here, he can get back to you as well. Take your requirements, make us sit with you. That's the briefing. And afterwards come the assessment. We can come and do the assessment on ground or offline for you, and see where you stand, what the maturity is for you in adopting Gen AI or any other solution, literally. And we can get to the POC as well. If you already have decided some use case in your head, and you just want to test the waters before you take the deep dive, we are there for you. And then if you have already gone through that, and if you're the big shark just getting ready and want to take the whole bite to your home and you're ready to implement, and we are ready to handle you as well. We're very much happy to take the implementation and take you to the market and make you win, because you could just say that we just been waiting to get along with you. And this is a room that we can feel energy when we are doing it online, but we feel the energy of the room. Everybody's excited, everybody's nice over there. We just want to get to you. So we are ready. And
awesome.
That,
thank you so much, Fahad. Thank you so much for bringing in the energy. I'm sorry, guys. I think there is last slide as well, which you can quickly cover.
Which is the thing that we want to say. Thank you so much. And our team is there at Leap, and very much looking forward. You can see our booth H5 and L11 right over there, I11, and we're going to be there. Our team is going to be there waiting for you. A lot of goodies for you as well. Mr. Abdullah loves to chat up, and he has a lot of solution things going on. Mr. Safdar is going to be there. I'm going to be there, and we're just waiting for you with open arms to see what we can offer and what you can get.
Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. And also I appreciate the fact, you guys asked questions and we were able to answer. In any case, if we have missed out any, you can surely reach out to us. We've already mentioned our website address. You can reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to answer. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for joining. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.